2015. Should have really been brought before the court a long time ago because it wasn't issued properly. So we'll grant the motion to dismiss. You're all set, sir.
You have a good day, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
you, Marquez Robinson? Okay. People of the city of Lansing versus Marquez Robinson, 21L2664112. Mr. Robinson, this is a show cause. Because it says you were here back in, I'm sorry, December. You had a balance of $120. You indicated that you would pay $25 that day and the balance by the 29th. And you did not pay. What's your plan, sir?
Hey, next Friday, can I start that payment?
You still owe 195. 195. I mean, you owe 95. How much you can pay? You owe $95.
Huh?
You owe $95. How much are you going to pay?
I paid the whole 95 Friday.
I'll note that on the file. You're all set for today.
Thank you.
Thank you. What's the update?
Mr. Ellenboss reports that he is checking into Holden House today. He has been actively seeking a detox place to start his rehabilitation. And he's been working with a group called Lifeboat. And they were able to get him in, he said today. I asked him if he would be able to appear via Zoom from there at some point shortly. He said he thinks that that would be possible, but will probably not be here for the hearing this morning. I asked him to have somebody from Holden House contact me as soon as they can today to confirm that that's where he's at and that's what is happening.
Okay, so you spoke to him today?
I spoke to him on Friday.
On Friday. And so he's supposed to be checking in at Holden House, but where was he at when you spoke to him?
He was not in a recovery place when I spoke to him on Friday.
Well, if you don't get a call from them today, confirming that's where he is, then I'll issue a bench warrant. Is it Noriega? He owes some money.
And then right here, because you're not muted. Um,
let's see, Mr. Staples. You're here for the code compliance matter?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. I see Leroy Ferris and let's see, Robert Walling. You all want to go into a private meeting room?
Yes, please, Your Honor.
Now we're on with the judge. So just gotta go.
Okay, on the record in the matter, the people of the city of Lansing versus Leroy Ferris, file number 2400140111. Oh, and appearance for the record, counsel.
Matt Staples for the city of Lansing.
Okay. And then I see an individual with a red shirt. Please state your name for the record, please.
Leroy Ferris.
Thank you. Today was the date set for a hearing on a code compliance zoning complaint. Mr. Staples, you met with him privately. How do you want to proceed on this?
Your Honor, at this point, we would like to request a adjournment for a date on or after May the 13th. Mr. Ferris gets a check once a month. He indicated that he would be purchasing a dumpster on May 1st to try to bring this situation into compliance. And that should give him some time thereafter to get things cleaned up and show substantial progress. So we would just ask for a date on or after the 13th of May.
You said 28. May 20th at 9:30.
Thank you, Your Honor.
No problem. Mr. Ferris, do you have any questions for the court?
Not really, ma'am.
Any additional matters for today's record, counsel?
Nothing for the city, Your Honor.
Okay, we'll see you on May 20th, Mr. Ferris.
Okay.
You're all set.
I have Mr. Frank Cole here, Your Honor.
On the record in the matter, the people of the city of Lansing versus Frank Cole, file number 23-03501, council appearance.
Morning, Your Honor. Amanda Boyle on behalf of the City of Lansing.
Assistant Public Defender John Lee on behalf of Frank Bull.
Mr. Cole, today was the date that was scheduled for a pre-trial. Looks like on the 25th, the city offered to amend it to a disorderly premises. And you needed time to consider how we proceed.
Your Honor, Mr. Cole is unable to accept that offer. Therefore, we would have no choice but to set the matter for trial.
What's up the matter for a jury trial?
April 29th at 8:15.
April 29th at 8:15 in person at the court, okay? Do you have any questions? I can't hear you. Any additional matters for the record?
Nothing for the city, Your Honor. Thank you.
Nothing for the defense. Thank you, Your Honor.
You're all set, sir.
It's mental health.
Okay, on the record, in the matter of the people of the city of Lansing versus Benjamin Milborn, file number 23-03721. Appearance for the record.
Good morning, Your Honor. I'm Erin Boyle on behalf of the city of Lansing.
This is Public Defender John Lee on behalf of Benjamin Hilborn.
How are you, Mr. Hilborn?
Very good, Your Honor. How about yourself?
I'm well, thank you. Okay, today was the date that was scheduled for a plea. And then it was a 53 violation. How are you proceeding?
Your Honor, Mr. Hilborn admits to the PA 53 violation in that he did go to South Penn Meyer on March 17th.
Okay, what are we doing on the trespassing?
I believe he's already pled guilty and we're set for a sentencing on that, Your Honor. We had previously had a time served sentencing agreement between myself and the prosecutor, which today is sitting at, I believe, 21 or 22 days. Court said they wanted to revisit the issue in consideration of the PA 53 violation.
This was set for a plea. He says that the attorney, I don't have. Entry of guilty for here. I don't even see what the offer was on my last note from February 12th said there was no offer. So I don't see where there would have been an offer placed on the record.
I'm sorry, Your Honor, my notes from April 5th indicated that we had an offer and that we made a plea, but that the court wasn't sure that.
From April 5th,
Yeah. The 2024.
why would we have saw him on April 5th? Today's the 8th of April.
That was my polycom, I'm sorry. No, we were last here March 25th.
Correct.
Yes.
And I can't enter, if I enter a plea, I can guarantee you that it has to be noted on here, otherwise the clerk's office didn't enter anything in the system. Was there an offer on this, Ms. O'Boyle?
There was, Your Honor, and it's as Mr. Lee described.
For him to plead guilty to the trespass?
Correct, Your Honor, with credit for time served.
Yeah, my note from March 25th was that this needed to be reset because he did not speak to you that day.
Sorry, Your Honor, that is not what I have, but that's okay.
Well, we can pull the record. The 25th, did we have a jury trial that date?
No. He was offered an opportunity to plead guilty to the trespassing with a sentencing agreement with the prosecutor for credit for time served. However, we may not have actually put the plea on the record. The court was saying that you wanted to consider the amount of time for sentencing in lieu of this PA 53, and so we reset it to come back today. If we have not made the plea yet, he.
Have the record pulled.
Okay.
25th.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Okay. So we just didn't actually meet.
And talked to him about the bond violation, but the offer was extended. But you said it just might affect the willingness to.
Offer was extended at the last court date. You had not spoken to him about the bond violation. No plea was entered on the record.
Okay.
You can have him complete an advice of rights.
It's the same. Do I have a lock on the docket?
Okay, so Mr. Hilborn, you're being charged with trespassing, and then you also have a bond violation. Want to plead guilty to both?
Yes, sir.
Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're going to give is the truth and the whole truth under penalty of perjury?
I do.
Thank you. You can put your hand down. Okay, I have an advice of rights and plea information sheet. That's your signature.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and then did you go over these rights with your attorney? You understand each of the rights listed here?
Yes, ma'am.
And are you willing to give up all those rights today in order to enter guilty plea to both the underlying charge of trespassing and the bond violation that you return to the location of 6200 South Pennsylvania?
Yes.
You understand you have the right to proceed to a trial in this matter, and that's the right to a jury trial. You have the right to the presumption of innocence. You're innocent, sir, until proven guilty, and you have the right to require the city prove your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt by proving each element of the charge being brought against you. You understand that?
Yes.
You have the right to remain silent at your trial and not have silence be used against you. You can waive that silence if you want to testify at your trial on your own behalf, or you can subpoena witnesses to testify on your behalf, or present evidence at trial that you believe show a defense to the charge being brought against you. You also have the right to see, hear, or question any other witnesses that the city intends to call against you. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
And those are all the rights you want to waive?
Yes, sir.
Is anybody threatening you to get you to waive those rights?
No, you're not.
Has there been any promises extended to you that have enticed you to want to waive those rights? So, you're currently on probation or on parole?
I signed up with pretrial services last time before I got picked up, and I haven't had a probation appointment because I've been locked up.
Oh, so you have another matter?
I have one more.
A felony?
case, A felony, yeah, police officer assault. Until,
But other than that, you don't have any other matters pending?
no,
Okay. You understand that a guilty plea could result in a conviction that you may need to report to your future employer?
yes,
Okay. As to the trespassing, how do you plead?
yes,
And then as to the bond violation, that on or about March 17th, 2024, that you were present at the location of 6200 South Pennsylvania in violation of your pretrial release order. How do you plead?
yes.
Factual basis.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Hilborn, were you on or about December 9th, 2023, at the location of 6200 South Pennsylvania at a retail store called Meyer? Yes. Okay. And had you been previously trespassed from Meyer? Yes. Okay. And the police found you on the property again that evening, correct? Correct. And you were trespassed again that night, correct? Correct. Thank you. No further questions, Your Honor.
Any questions from the city?
Just clarification, maybe I missed it at the beginning. Did we clarify that it was located in the city of Lansing? We did.
City of Lansing, County of Hingham, State of Michigan, right, on South Penn? Yes. Good catch. Thank you, Ms. O'Boyle.
Additional matters for the record? Okay, the court is satisfied with the factual basis. Let's see. Just to be clear, I need you to do the bond violation, so it's Factual basis indicates that he was advised of his
So
bond conditions.
you were charged with trespassing in regard to the incident on December 9th, and you were placed on bond a short time after that, correct? Correct. And one of your bond conditions was that you were to not return to that address, correct? Okay. And while on bond on March 17th of 2024, you did in fact return to that address, correct? Again, that's 6200 South Pennsylvania in the city of Lansing, county of Union, state of Michigan, correct? Correct. Thank you.
So, report is satisfied with the factual basis as to the bond violation. I'll accept your plea. Claim your plea made voluntarily and intelligently. My records reflect that he's been in custody since the time of the bond violation, which was the 17th, 18th.
That is correct.
Credit time, sir. You're all set. You're welcome. We have us see, is that Mr. Mbukwa?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do we need a interpreter? I don't know. We might need an interpreter, I don't think. Nkumbukwa. Are we ready, Mr. Nkumbukwa?
Yes, we are, Your Honor.
On the record in the matter, the people of the city of Lansing versus Saddam Nkumbukwa, file number is 23-02192, council of plans.
Morning, Your Honor. Amanda O'Boyle on behalf of the city of Lansing.
Public Defender John Lee on behalf of Saddam Mbukwa.
Okay, Mbukwa, today was the date that was reset for a pre-trial. I see that there was an offer that was extended, and that was for him to plead guilty to operating while intoxicated, 0.08 or higher. Is that accurate?
That is accurate, Your Honor.
How does he want to proceed?
He is accepting that offer today.
So you completed an advice of rights?
We have, Your Honor. May I approach?
Yes. Okay, that's correct, sir. You want to plead guilty to count 1 of operating while intoxicated, 0.08 or higher?
Yes.
Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're going to give us the truth and the whole truth under penalty of perjury? Okay, I do have an advice of rights and a plea information sheet today. There is a signature on the second page. Is that your signature?
Yes, Your
Okay, and you read this document here?
Honor. Yes,
You understand the rights that are listed here?
yes,
You want to give up all of these rights in order to plead guilty to count 1?
yes, Your Honor.
Okay, so you have the right to the presumption of innocence. That means that you're innocent until proven guilty. You understand that right?
Yes,
You want to give that right up?
yes,
You have the right to require the city prove your guilt by proving each element of the charge being brought against you beyond a reasonable doubt. You have the right to see, hear, or question any witness that the city intends to call against you. You have the right to call your own witnesses to your trial or present evidence that you believe show a defense to the charges being brought against you. You can remain silent at trial and not have silence be used against you, or you can waive your right to silence and testify on your own behalf. You understand that?
yes, Your Honor.
Anybody threatening you to give those rights up?
No,
Any promises being made to you in order for you to plead guilty today?
no,
Are you currently on probation or parole?
no,
Do you understand that a guilty plea to count 1 could result in a conviction that you may need to report to your employer?
yes, Your Honor.
You also may need to report a conviction on a future job application.
Yes, Your Honor.
You also may have impact on where you can travel or immigration status that you may be seeking.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. As to count 1, operating while intoxicated with the blood alcohol content of 0.08 or higher, how do you plead?
Guilty.
Are you pleading guilty because you believe you're guilty?
Yes, Your
Factual basis.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Mbukwa, on or about January 7th, 2023, were you driving on Madison and Seymour in the city of Lansing?
Honor. Yes,
And that's in the county of Ingham, the state of Michigan, correct? And these are roads that are generally open to the public, correct? Okay, and at that time, you encountered the police, correct?
Yeah.
And subsequent to that encounter, there was a blood draw.
Yes.
And do you deny or have any reason to dispute that you had a blood alcohol level at that time of 0.157 grams of alcohol per 100 milliliters of blood?
No.
Thank you. No further questions, Your Honor.
Any questions from the city?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
The court is satisfied with the factual basis. I'll accept your plea and find it to be freely, voluntarily, and intelligently made. This matter is set for sentencing June 17th at 9 o'clock in the morning. When you leave here, you need to go downstairs 1 floor to check in with probation so they can get you set up for your pre-sentence interview. If he's undergone a substance abuse assessment, that needs to be provided. Otherwise, you will be required to pay the cost for a new assessment, okay? Do you have any questions?
We get the assessment, right?
Who's you guys? The court doesn't get it. Your attorney probably got it,
Okay.
but we don't have it. No matters for the record.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Nothing for the defense. Thank you, Your Honor.
You're all set, sir. You can go to probation. On the record in the matter of the people of the city of Lansing versus Andrew Garza Jr., file number 24-00216, council appearance.
Good morning, Your Honor. Amanda O'Boyle on behalf of the city of Lansing.
Good morning, Your Honor. Edward Zaney on behalf of Andrew Garza Jr. appearing via Zoom with consent.
Okay, today was the date that was set for a pre-trial and operating with a 0.17 or higher. Was there an offer on this matter?
There was, Your Honor. The offer was to amend the charge to operating while intoxicated with a Killebrew agreement to no upfront jail.
It got cut off a little bit. You said operating while intoxicated, 0.08.
Correct, Your Honor, with a Killebrew agreement to no upfront jail.
Mr. Zaney, how do you want to proceed?
Your Honor, my client's going to accept that. He's prepared to enter the.
It got cut off. I'm sorry.
Good morning, Your Honor. Yes, he's prepared to accept that plea and enter it this morning.
Mr. Garza, is that accurate?
Yes, Your Honor.
Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're going to give is the truth and the whole truth under penalty of perjury?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. You can put your hand down. Okay, Mr. Garza, operating while intoxicated is still a misdemeanor, and you have the right in that matter to proceed to a jury trial. You have the right to the presumption of innocence. So you're innocent until proven guilty, and you have the right to require the city prove your guilt at a jury trial by proving each element of the charge being brought against you beyond a reasonable doubt. You have the right to see, hear, or question any other witnesses that the city intends to call against you at your trial. You have the right to call your own witnesses to trial or present evidence that you believe show a defense to the charge being brought against you. You have the right to remain silent at your trial and not have silence be used against you, or you can waive your right to silence and testify on your own behalf at your trial. Do you understand all of those rights?
Yes, Your Honor.
You're willing to give them all up to plead guilty to the added count, I'm sorry, the amended count of operating while intoxicated 0.08?
Yes, Your Honor.
Anybody threatening you to get you to do that?
No.
Any promises being made to you in exchange for a guilty plea today?
No.
Are you currently on probation or on parole?
No.
Do you understand that if you plead guilty, it could result in a conviction that you may need to report to your employer?
Yes.
It also could result in a conviction that you may need to put on a future job application, and it could have impact on travel or immigration status that you may be seeking.
Yes.
As to the amended charge of operating while intoxicated with a blood alcohol level 0.08 or higher, how do you plead?
Guilty.
that because you believe you're guilty?
Yes, Your Honor.
I have a factual basis, counsel.
Thank you. Mr. Garza, I take your attention to July 22nd, 2023. Do you recall that date?
Yes,
On that date, were you at or near 1019 Cleo Street?
yes,
That's in the city of Lansing, County of Hingham, State of Michigan, correct?
correct.
On that date, at that location, were you operating a motor vehicle?
Yes,
And you were operating that motor vehicle on a public roadway, correct?
correct.
All right, and prior to operating the motor vehicle, you consumed alcohol, agreed?
Agreed.
What did you consume?
2 heavy-handed gin drinks.
2 heavy-handed gin drinks, mixed drinks, correct?
Yes,
All right, now, with that, on that date, at that location, you subsequently had contact with law enforcement, correct?
correct,
As a result of an accident,
correct.
and they requested you do a blood draw, agreed?
Agreed.
And you consented to the blood draw and provided them a sample?
Yes,
And you would agree the results of that were 0.21,
yes,
0.215, correct?
correct.
And we have no reason to dispute those results, do we?
No,
All right, Your Honor, I think that covers it.
Thank you. Any questions from the city?
No, Your Honor, the city is satisfied.
The court is satisfied with the factual basis, and I'll accept your plea, Mr. Garza. I find it to be freely, voluntarily, and intelligently made. Your matter is scheduled for sentencing June 17th at 9 o'clock in the morning. You need to report to our probation department in person no later than 10:30 on Wednesday of this week, so they can get you set up for your interview for your PSI, okay?
okay.
Do you have any questions for the court at this time?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. No matters for the record, counsel.
None for the city, Your Honor.
None from defense. Have a blessed week, Your Honor. Thank you.
Same to you. Thank you. Okay, who's in the Ingham County Jail? I'm sorry? Okay, and who is in the DRF hearing room? Mr. Sowers, okay. And who's representing Leah Hadding? Leah Hadding. Okay. On the record in the matter of the people of the city of Lansing versus Leah Jocelyn Hadding, I have file numbers 24L2835, 232, 5233, 5501, 5231. Council appearance.
Good morning, Your Honor. Amanda O'Boyle on behalf of the city of Lansing.
Public Defender John Lee on behalf of Leah Hadding.
Okay, Ms. Hadding, you can hear us correctly? I can't hear you.
Yes, I'm sorry, I had it muted. Yes, I can hear you guys.
Oh, okay, very good. Today's the date that was set for pretrial or reset for pretrial. There were some proofs that needed to be sent to the office of the city attorney for consideration. How are we proceeding at this time?
Your Honor, Ms. Hadding has presented proofs to the city attorney. However, city attorney has yet to be satisfied that the proofs are indicative of her claims. So the city attorney has asked Ms. Hadding, or asked me to ask Ms. Hadding if she would circle back to the Secretary of State for more substantive proofs.
Okay, how much time does she need to do that?
I would think a short 2-week adjournment would be sufficient, Your Honor.
April 22nd at 10.
Thank you.
No problem. Do you have any questions for the court?
No, ma'am.
Any additional matters for the record, counsel?
Same for the city, Your Honor. Thank you.
Nothing for the defense. Thank you, Your Honor.
You're all set, Ms. Hattie. Representing Mr. Foot.
I am representing Mr. Foote.
On the record in the matter of the people of the city of Lansing versus Robert Henry Foot, file number 20-03379, appearance for the record.
Morning, Your Honor. Amanda O'Boyle on behalf of the city of Lansing.
Assistant Public Defender John Lee on behalf of Robert Foote.
Okay, Mr. Foot, how are you? Can you hear us, Mr. Foot? Looks like he's frozen. Okay, he is frozen. We'll call that case when he gets his device cleared. Are we ready on Mr. Juma, or are we supposed to have a interpreter? Okay. We ready on Mr. Pearl?
I would ask for a quick moment for a follow-up conversation. with
McComb is
Mr.
here.
Pearl.
Mr. McComb is here for Juma.
We can proceed on Mr. Juma whenever you're ready.
Okay, on the record in the matter of the people of the city of Lansing versus Pacific Juma, file number 23-01698, council appearance.
Morning, Your Honor. Amanda O'Boyle on behalf of the city of Lansing.
Assistant Public Defender John Lee on behalf of Pacific Juma.
Sema kwamba ni jina anaitwa John Lee na yeye anakusimamia wewe.
And interpreter, please state your name for the record.
My name is Abdallah Mukomo, first name Abdalla, last name Mukoma.
Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that you would interpret in the matter now before the court completely and accurately and not divulge confidential communications to help you God?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Today was the date set for a pretrial on an operating while intoxicated.
Hayo ndio ilikuwa siku kwamba yani ulipangiwa ukuje hapa tuanze kuzungumza kwamba ulikuwa unaendesha gari ulikunywa.
High blood alcohol content.
Kwamba nimepatikana kwamba nina pombe juu sana.
I do see in February there was an offer to amend it to an operating while intoxicated 0.08.
Kwamba ni kwa mwezi wa pili niliona kwamba uliondeshwa, kwa hiyo kwa kunywa juu yani wakaweka chini.
How are we proceeding, counsel?
Unaendeleaje? Umekubali hiyo?
Mr. Juma is going to accept that offer, Your Honor.
Anasema kwamba Mr. Juma amekubali hiyo yani wamemletea.
Is that correct, Mr. Juma?
Hiyo ni ukweli? Yes.
Raise your right hand.
Nyanyua mkono wako juu.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm
Unaapia kwamba yani
the testimony you're going to give
habari zile utatoa hapa leo
is the truth and the whole truth
kwamba ni zitakuwa za ukweli, kila kitu iko ukweli,
under the penalty of perjury?
kwamba ni kwa kufuata sheria na hiyo kuapa hapo. Yes.
Okay, you can put your hand down.
Shusha mkono chini.
Mr. Juma, you have the right to the presumption of innocence.
Kwamba uko na haki kwamba unyamazie tu bila kuongea.
That means you're innocent until proven guilty.
Kwamba unanyamaza mpaka kuonyesha kwamba ndio umetoa kwamba umefanya ukweli.
Do you understand that?
Umeelewa hiyo? Yes.
You have the right to require the prosecution prove your guilt.
Sema kwamba una haki utafuate serikali wa kuambia sababu gani wamekuletea hapa.
The prosecution has to prove your guilt at a jury trial.
Kwamba ni kama tunaenda mbele kusambiana, ni lazima wale watu umewaharibia wakuje walete habari kamili.
They have to prove each element of the charge beyond a reasonable doubt.
Kwamba ni wanatakana tu ushahidi kamili kila kitu yani wewe umeharibu.
You have the right to remain silent at your trial and not have that used against you.
Ukikutana huko mbele unaweza nyamaza kwamba ni hakuna mtu na pia atakufuatilia kwa sababu umenyamaza.
You have the right to question any of their witnesses.
Una haki kwamba uulize maswali wale watu walikuja washahidi wao pia.
You have the right to call your own witnesses to trial.
Una haki kwamba ni kuita mashahidi yako wewe mwenyewe kwamba ni wakuja wakusambia hapa.
You have the right to remain silent and not have silence be used against you at your trial?
Kwamba una haki wa kunyamaza, kwamba ni unyamazo wako, hakuna kusema kwamba ni wewe watakufuatilia nyuma.
Or you can waive your right to silence and testify if you'd like.
Au kama hutaki hiyo kunyamaza, kwamba unaweza sema mimi nataka niongee shida yangu.
Do you have any questions about those rights?
Shida yote ama swali yote kuhusiana hizi habari alikwambia? No.
You want to give them all up today?
Kwamba leo unaziacha hizo, unataka umalize kila kitu? Yes.
Anybody threatening you to give up your rights?
Kuna mtu yoyote alikulazimisha kufanya hizi haki hapa leo? No.
Any promises being made to you in exchange for you pleading guilty?
Nasema kuna mtu yoyote alikufikia wakati akakwambia chukua hizi habari, yani kwamba nitakupa vitu vyote hapo nje? No.
You understand that a guilty plea could have impact on travel or immigration status?
Nasema unaelewa kwamba ni kusema kwamba ndio nimekubali, labda kesho inaweza leta shida, yani kuhusiana yani upande wa immigration yako. Yes.
A guilty plea could result in the conviction that you may need to report to your job.
Kwamba ni hiyo hata inaweza leta kwamba hata ukienda kwa kazi yako inaweza kutoa kwa kazi, umeelewa hiyo? Yes.
As to the charge of operating while intoxicated 0.08 or higher, how do you plead?
Kwamba ni kwa kuonekana kwamba umekunywa pombe kwamba zaidi yani ya ile hesabu wamehesabiwa, umekubali kama nini? Umekubali? Guilty.
Is that because you believe you're guilty?
Kwamba unaamini kwamba ndio umekosea? Yes.
Factual basis, counsel.
Asante, ndio kwamba tunaambia habari kwamba za kweli.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Asante mwanasheria.
Mr. Juma, on or about November 20th of 2022,
Kwamba ni mwezi wa 11 mwezi wa tarehe 20 mwaka 2022,
were you driving in a vehicle at or near Jolly and Wise Roads?
Asema ulikuwa unaendesha gari kwamba ni kwa hizo njia mbili kwamba ni ya Jolly na Wise Road hapo. Yes.
And those are roads that are generally open to the public.
Kwa sababu hizo njia ni za watu wote, sio ya wako peke yako, unaelewa?
Correct.
Yes.
And that's in the city of Lansing, county of Ingham, state of Michigan.
Sema kwa sababu hizo njia ziko hapa kwamba ni city ya Lansing na county nayo ni Ingham, unaelewa hiyo? Yes.
And at that time you had an encounter with the police.
Kwamba ni hapo tayari umekutana na polisi. Yes.
And as a result you had some blood drawn.
Hani kwamba ni majibu yake hapo ulikuwa umechukuliwa damu. Yes.
And do you have any reason to dispute that your blood alcohol at that time was 0.17 grams or more per 100 milliliters of blood?
Kwamba ni kwa hiyo damu yako alichukua vipimo vyako vilikuwa juu kwamba ni 1 mpaka 7, yani hiyo ni hairuhusiwi. Kuna habari zozote unaweza sema hapana?
No further questions, Your Honor.
Mwanasheria hapa anasema hana swali yoyote.
Any questions from the city?
Kwamba ni watu wa serikali wanauliza kama kuna swali.
No, thank you, Your Honor.
Sema hapana na yeye anasema sina swali.
Particularly, your blood alcohol showed it was 0.25. Is that correct?
Anasema kwamba ninaonyeshana kwamba nilikuwa kwamba 2.5. Ndio ni kweli? Yes.
Court is satisfied with the factual basis. I'll accept your plea. Find your plea you made freely, voluntarily, and intelligently.
Ndio mahakamani wameona kwamba ndio umekubali wewe mwenyewe kwa roho yako na yeye mwanasheria. Mahakamani wamekubali kwamba nikuchukua hiyo habari zako.
Your matter set for sentencing June 17th at 9 a.m.
Sema kwamba ni tulipanga kwamba ni mwezi wa 6 tarehe 9 kwamba ni June 17th.
June 17th.
Ya mwezi wa 6 tarehe 17 saa 3 kamili.
When you leave today, you need to go meet with probation.
Yani ukitoka hapa leo unatakana uende ukaone watu wa probation.
So you can check in for your pre-sentence interview.
Alafu wakakuchukulia wakakuojie maswali tena.
Do you have any questions for the court?
Kuna swali yoyote kwa mahakamani? No.
Okay, any additional matters for the record?
Wanaulizwa wanasheria, kuna nyingine mnataka kuongeza?
No, Your Honor.
Kwamba ni watu walioharibiwa wamesema hakuna kitu chochote cha kuongeza.
Nothing for the defense. Thank
Na
you.
mwenye anakukubalia kusimamia wewe anasema sina yoyote.
Thank you, Mr. Juma. You can have a seat and we'll get you down to probation in just a moment.
Anasema kwamba nikaa hapo kwamba ni utapelekwa hapo chini uende ukaonane na wale watu wa probation. Okay.
Thank you. On the record in the matter of the people of the city of Lansing versus Robert Foote. Mr. Foote, can you hear us?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, this is file number 20-03379. Appearance for the record.
Morning, Your Honor. Amanda O'Boyle on behalf of the city of Lansing.
Assistant Public Defender John Lee on behalf of Robert Foote.
Okay, today was a date set for a pretrial for furnishing false information and failure to display a license. How are we proceeding?
Your Honor, the city has made an offer for Mr. Foote. However, I have been unable to reach him this week via telephone. If I can get a moment with him this morning, I can probably resolve this.
Mr. Foote, what's your phone number?
1 second. The one on file is no longer good. Here you go. 517-684-0366.
Please, we have to reset your matter. I have an 11 o'clock meeting, so. You don't hear from your attorney, or if you change your phone number, one of your bond conditions there is that you update the court and keep them aware of what your phone number is. Do you understand that?
It's my bill's just past due at the moment is all.
Oh, I understand that, but you gotta stay in contact with the court and your attorney. He can't communicate with you if you don't get him a number to contact you on. He's gonna contact you, but he has 2 people on the screen that he needs to meet with. And then he'll extend an offer and then you'll have time to think about that offer, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
April 15th at 10:30 is your new court date. Do you have any questions for the
Yes,
court
ma'am.
today?
April 15th?
Correct.
No, ma'am.
Okay, you're all set for today, sir.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Where did Mr. Baldwin go?
Oh, he had to go to get water.
No Baldwin?
I have not seen Mr. Baldwin.
Sure, thanks for it. You need to speak with Sowards and Pearl.
Yes, Your Honor, both of those conversations will be good.
Really as hell, throwing up game signs on the damn court day.
Excuse me? Mr. Pearl, did you have something to say?
Not about you, Your Honor. I just noticed something that was silly.
What is that?
I mean, right here throwing up gang signs on the damn court day.
Excuse me?
That my man's right here throwing up gang signs.
Are you talking about Mr. Sowards?
Whatever his last name is.
No, okay. No. I would agree that if he was doing that, that is silly.
Definitely ain't throwing gang signs. I'm not in no gang.
For whatever you just did, I'm just warning you in front of Judge Simmons. That's
Okay.
pretty silly, man.
Okay, you all don't need to go back and forth with each other. That's not what you're here for. You're here for your own individual court dates.
Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That's my fault.
Put you, Mr. Pearl, you're gonna meet with Mr. Lee and discuss your matter.
And I'm telling you, man, you gotta realize that. I hope y'all realize how blessed you always feel. Anyhow, share like stories here. And you know, it just makes me feel good to be a part of it. And it's open and honest. We have that other group. Been in other groups, and I want to sign off. And I feel like I can share anything with them, anything about my people, on the lifestyle, anything. I can say
Mr. Lee, were you all set in the private meeting room?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Okay, I just, and I know you need to speak with Mr. Sowers. I'm gonna allow you to do that in just a moment. Mr. Pearl had a concern about some language or signs that were being displayed by Mr. Sowers, so he did communicate that to the court when you were not present. Mr. Sowers denies any behavior indicating that he was throwing up gang signs, I think was what the allegation was. The court did, however, review the video. I'm sure Mr. Sowers is familiar with court and that it's recorded. He did appear to be doing something with his hands here. Maybe you can talk to him privately about that.
Okay, I certainly will. Thank you, Your Honor.
I put Mr. Sowards in room 1.
Excellent. Thank you, Your Honor.
On the record in the matter of the people of the city of Lansing versus Robert Pearl Young, the fourth, file number 21L2702041 and 2200-0030, 22-00031, and 22-00813. Council appearance.
Morning, Your Honor. Amanda O'Boyle on behalf of the city of Lansing.
Your Honor, Assistant Public Defender John Lee appearing on behalf of Robert Pearl.
Okay, today was the date that was set for pre-trial. I have a driving while licensed or unlicensed, a driving unregistered, and no insurance, and a trespass in a red tag property. How are we proceeding?
Your Honor, the city attorney and I have had some discussions on Mr. Pearl in regard to the driving related charges, the no ops, the no registration and the no insurance. There are some proofs that Mr. Pearl feels he can offer, but he can't do that right now while he's incarcerated. So he would like to reset the hearings on those matters. However, he is prepared and willing to plead guilty today to the trespass in a red tagged house.
Is that correct? Mr. Pearl,
Yes.
so you want to plead guilty to the trespass and the red tags, and the other matters be reset. Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're going to give is the truth and the whole truth under the penalty of perjury? You can put your hand down. Okay, Mr. Pearl, you have the right to proceed to a trial, and you have the right to a jury trial. You have the right to the presumption of innocence. So you're innocent until proven guilty, and you have the right to require the city prove your guilt at a jury trial by proving each element of the charge of trespass and a red tag property beyond a reasonable doubt. Do you understand that right? I can't hear anything on their end.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you have the right to remain silent at your trial and not have silence be used against you. You have the right to see, hear, or question any of the witnesses the city intends to call against you, and you have the right to call your own witnesses to testify on your behalf or present evidence that you believe show a defense to the charge being brought against you. You can waive your right to silence at your trial and testify if you'd like, but if you do invoke your right to silence, again, that right also incorporates them not being able to use silence against you. Do you have any questions about those rights?
No, I do not.
Okay. Anybody threatening you to give up your rights and plead guilty?
No.
Any promises being made to you in exchange for a guilty plea?
No, ma'am.
You understand that a guilty plea could result in a conviction that you may need to report to your employer.
Yes, ma'am. Oh, excuse me.
Excuse me?
I said, yes, ma'am. And I said, excuse me, because I'm sorry.
Okay, and a guilty plea could also have impact on travel or immigration status that you may be seeking. You understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
As to the charge of trespassing a red tag property, how do you plead?
Guilty.
Actual basis.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Pearl, on or about March 19th, 2022, you had a home upon Marquis Street at or near South Hayford Avenue?
Yes, I was on that property.
Thank you. And was that property clearly designated with a red tag?
Yes.
And you understood that that red tag mean that you could only be there during certain hours of the day? I think it was 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Is that correct?
Yes.
And when the police arrived at the home, you were in fact there after 5 p.m., correct?
Yes.
No further questions.
Any questions from the city?
No, Your Honor, the city is satisfied.
The court is satisfied with the factual basis. I'll accept your plea and find it to be freely, voluntarily, and intelligently made. He's been in custody for some time for this. I'll credit him time served. As to the other matters, there's a driving unregistered, driving unlicensed, and a no insurance. He's missed court 7 times on those. I'm not resetting them. Because he doesn't come to court.
We do have an offer from the city attorney in regard to the remainder of the charges, Your Honor. He may well be willing to plead if we come back.
Meaning you wanted to talk to him again? Is that what you mean? I'm not.
Yeah, I couldn't have him plead without having talked to him.
Okay, I can have him sit tight and you can talk to him again. It's just, there's 7 times that he's failed to appear on this file. And this has been pending since 2022. He was supposed to have proofs brought in 2022, 2023. He's not coming back with any proofs. So just resolve it today.
Okay.
On the record, in the matter of the people of the city of Lansing versus Paul Sowers, file number is 18-00916. Council appearance.
Good morning, Your Honor. Amanda O'Boyle on behalf of the city of Lansing.
Assistant Public Defender John Lee on behalf of Robert Pearl.
No, we're on the record for Sowers. You said you were on the record for Robert Pearl. We're on the
Is that what I
record-
said? I'm so
Yes,
sorry.
we're on the record for
Assistant
Sowards.
Public Defender John Lee, on behalf of Paul Sowards.
Thank you. Mr. Sowards, today was the date up for a pretrial on a driving of reckless. I do want to ask you, what exactly is the sign that you were posting up on the camera?
Nothing, Your Honor. I was just fidgeting with my hands. I do it a lot. I have arthritis in my hands and I was just fidgeting with my hands. I do it, like I said, all the time. I'm not in no gang. I've never been gang affiliated. So I don't know. I don't know what he's seen or thought, but
I know what I saw. You weren't fidgeting with your hands.
I do it all the time. That's what I was doing, Your Honor.
You weren't doing it then. You thought the court didn't see it. You didn't know that we were recording this. You weren't fidgeting with your hands. Not only did you intentionally put your hands up like you were putting up West Side or something to that notion, but you also made a face. You knew exactly what you were doing, and to think that you're smart enough or smarter than me and tell me that you're just fidgeting with your hands. I did notice that after you were called out about it, you started twisting up your fingers. But you weren't doing that until after you were called out about making alleged gang signs in the middle of a court proceeding.
Your Honor, I'm not in a gang. I promise you. I've never been.
I'm not asking if you're in a gang. I'm not asking if you're in a gang, but you were definitely making some kind of indicia with your hands. You were not stretching or fidgeting with your fingers. And if you think that I'm dumb enough to buy that, then kudos to you, but I'm not. Okay?
Okay.
When you come to court, conduct yourself like somebody who has a court proceeding. You don't put up gang signs or other indicia. You don't make faces at people. It's inappropriate, okay? And it could lead to additional charges. Do you understand that?
I apologize, Your Honor.
How are we proceeding with the reckless driving?
In regard to the reckless driving, Your Honor, the city has offered Mr. Sowards an opportunity to accept responsibility for a civil infraction of improper passing, and he will accept that.
Okay, when will he pay?
I told him he should expect to have to pay within 30 days of being released.
Okay, he's in the Michigan Department of Corrections, Carson City.
I believe.
Yes, ma'am.
For how long?
My ERD is August 5th.
Okay, it's amended to, let's see, do I have it here? Ms. O'Boyle, what was the charge that you were amending it to?
Your Honor, it's amended to improper passing. The MCL is 257.636. It's a non-abstractable 3-point civil infraction.
Thank you. And Mr. Soward, you want to accept responsibility for that?
Yes, Your Honor.
The fine is $130 and the court will remit a payment order to the Michigan Department of Corrections, okay?
All right, thank you, Your Honor.
You're all set. Okay, who's this here?
This is Mr. Urbialis, Your Honor.
On the record in the matter of the people of the city of Lansing versus Antonio Ordiales, file number 24-00397, 21-01508, 21-01509, 24L2837752 and 7753, council appearances.
Good morning, Your Honor. Amanda O'Boyle on behalf of the city of Lansing.
Assistant Public Defender John Lee on behalf of Antonio Urdiales.
Okay, Mr. Ordiales, you have a ton of issues going on here. Driving while license is suspended, no insurance, no ops, no insurance, expired plate. How are we proceeding on these?
Your Honor, the city attorney has made an offer to Mr. Urdiales whereby he will plead guilty to driving while license suspended and accept responsibility for a civil infraction of no insurance. The remaining charges to be dropped.
Driving while license is, he's gonna plead guilty, you said?
Driving while license suspended, yes, Your Honor.
And what was the other one?
A civil infraction for no insurance.
Okay, so file number 24L283775 he's gonna accept responsibility too.
Yes.
Yes. Alice, please raise your right hand. You solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're going to give is the truth and the whole truth under penalty of perjury.
Yes, Your Honor.
You can put your hand down. Okay, Mr. Alice, you have the right, in the driving while license is suspended, to proceed to a trial, and you have the right to a jury trial. You have the right to the presumption of innocence. You're innocent until proven guilty. You have the right to require the prosecution, which is the city attorney's office, to prove your guilt by proving each element of the charges being brought against you beyond a reasonable doubt. You can remain silent at trial and not have silence be used against you. You have the right to see, hear, or question any of the witnesses the city intends to call against you at your trial. You have the right to call your own witnesses at your trial or present evidence that you believe show a defense to the charge of driving while license is suspended. You understand each of those rights?
Yes, Your Honor.
And these are all the rights that you want to give up, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
This is your signature?
Yes, Your Honor.
Anybody threatening you to give up the rights?
No, Your Honor.
Any promises being made to you in exchange for you giving up those rights and pleading guilty?
No, Your Honor.
Are you currently on probation or parole?
No, Your Honor.
As to the charge of driving while license is suspended, how do you plead?
I plead guilty, Your Honor.
Factual basis.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Urdialis, on or about February 9th, 2024, were you driving your vehicle upon held place at or near Penn?
Yes, I was.
And that's in the city of Lansing, county of Hingham, state of Michigan, correct?
That's correct.
And at that time, you were driving while your license was suspended, correct?
That's correct.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Okay. Any questions from the city?
None, Your Honor, thank you.
Court is satisfied with the factual basis. I'll accept your plea and find it to be freely, voluntarily, and intelligently made. Your fine is $200. Your fine in the other matter, the civil infraction of no insurance, that's $45. When can you make payment on those?
In the next 2 weeks.
How much are you gonna pay?
$100, I believe, Your Honor.
You believe, or are you sure?
I'm pretty sure. Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, 2 weeks from today's date is going to be the 22nd. I know that you'll pay $100. You'll start with the driving while license is suspended. And then when will you make your next payment? 30 days?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, Your Honor.
Today is the 8th. Okay, so I note here on the driving while license suspended, you'll pay $100 within 2 weeks. You'll pay the balance It's within 2 weeks after that, you'll pay $100 on the no insurance by May 8th, and the balance 2 weeks after that, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you have any questions for the court?
No, Your Honor.
Any additional matters for the record?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Up to the bench, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you, you're all set. We'll put you in the meeting room with Mr. Pearl so you can discuss the offer.
I'll just stay down there to, you know,
Thank you, Your Honor.
do as
Thank you.
expeditiously as possible.
Okay, back on the record in the matter of Robert Pearl IV. Mr. Lee, are you there?
Yes, I am, Your Honor.
Okay, how does he want to resolve his remaining matters?
Your Honor, the city had originally made an offer to Mr. Pearl whereby he would plead guilty to trespass in a red tagged house, and he would plead guilty to driving unregistered. In return, the city agreed to dismiss the no ops and the no insurance under the insurance code cases, and Mr. Pearl would like to execute that plea agreement.
Okay, so the driving unregistered, he wants to plead guilty to.
That is correct.
Mr. Pearl, can you raise your right hand? You solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're going to give is the truth and the whole truth under penalty of perjury.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, we previously discussed your rights when you took a plea to the trespass in the red tag property. That again includes your right to the presumption of innocence and your right to trial, your right to question any witness the city calls, the right to call your own witnesses, or the right to remain silent. I have silence to be used against you. You want to give up those rights today in order to plead guilty to the charge of an unregistered vehicle?
Yes, ma'am.
Anybody threatening you to get you to give those rights up and plead guilty? Any promises being made to you in exchange for a guilty plea? As to the charge of unregistered vehicle, how do you plead?
Guilty.
That the factual basis, please, counsel.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Pearl, on or about December 30th, 2021, were you driving a vehicle upon Mary Avenue at or near Pleasant Grove Road?
Yes.
And that is in the city of Lansing, the county of Ingham, and the state of Michigan, correct?
Correct.
And at that time, the vehicle you were driving was unregistered, so you were driving an unregistered vehicle, correct? I'm sorry, Mr. Pearl. At that time, you were driving an unregistered vehicle, correct?
Correct.
Thank you. No further questions, Your Honor.
Any questions from you, Mrs. O'Boyle?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Court is satisfied with the factual basis. I'll accept your plea and find it to be made freely, voluntarily, and intelligently. I'll credit you time served. You're all set.
Thank you, Your Honor.
That's all I have, I think, for the city. And this afternoon, we have a few trials and a arraignment, or one pretrial, I see. No, I don't. That's an income tax objection. Okay, one PV arraignment. So Mr. Lee, I guess you'll return.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you.